How are you doing?
I'm doing good, blessed to be able to still be making moves through the craziness.
Right, right. Congratulations on the book. It's a big
Thank you.
deal. Um, I guess the first question is, what is your truth? The book is called My Truth. You have to bare your soul when you call the book My Truth. So what is your truth?
Right. My truth is that I'm not perfect, that I've made mistakes, and that that I've been man enough to step back and look at myself outside of myself, I guess. As a man, sometimes we want to hold our pride and ego and not be vulnerable and not want to change certain things that we know aren't healthy for us. So I think that's my truth is just, I'm not perfect and I accept that.
Okay. Throughout your imperfections, why do you feel that it's important for you to use your voice to then help others?
Um, well, it's crazy because we look at so many people in the spotlight who go through certain situations, whether it's relationship or depression or anxiety, and we'll see them struggle, but we don't really get an insight as to where it came from or how do they manage it or get through it, and so for me, having a platform and having people that follow me and look up to me, I wanted to be able to give them a deeper insight than just, oh, let me model some clothes for you, or, oh, let me try to sell you a product. Like, I wanted to connect with people because so many people usually are dealing with the same thing that we are. Like, we can be having the worst day or dealing with depression or loss of a loved one or whatever, and the person right next to us could be dealing with the same thing, and they could be trying to fake it and keep this smile on their face when really they need somebody to talk to that has dealt with it, who they can connect with. So I wanted to kind of be that person for my followers and for people that don't know me, for somebody to be like, okay, he's in the spotlight, but he has things that he's went through in his life that I can connect with.
Yeah. I know there is a good portion of the book that talks about just the growth of a man through relationships. And I'm wondering, was your breakup with Liane the catalyst for the beginnings of this book?
It definitely was. My father passed away 3 years ago, and I kind of started looking at life a lot differently after that happened.
Mhm.
But I was still kind of stuck in my same ways. I didn't really know how to break free from the ways I was living, or you go back to what's comfortable, your same circle of friends, or doing daily routines. And so when I broke up with Leanne at the top of this year, um, and then with the pandemic and everything, I was forced to sit still and be in my mind, and I wanted to really take the time to reach out to mentors and put myself around different people that have experienced the same thing that I have, but have broke free from it.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, breaking up, my breakup with Leanne was definitely the catalyst to the start of it all. It's like I was planning on getting married this year, and everything switched up, and so I wanted to step up and do things differently.
Yeah. You're also very open in talking about infidelities and how men navigate that space, and also wanting women to understand men who are often caught up in that. What
Yeah.
what are you what advice do you have for the women that have to unfortunately go through situations like that? And
Right.
what are you telling the men on how to be better?
Right. I mean, I don't try to make no excuses for it. Like, everybody knows it's not the right thing to do, and when you're doing it, you have, it's heavy on your heart, right? But it's like you're so used to seeing it happen around you, and for a lot of men, like at least me, where I grew up, it was kind of like, as long as you're good at home and you're holding your house down and you're coming home every night, it doesn't even have to necessarily be like physical cheating, but it's like if you need to flirt or if you need to see what you can get away with, as long as you're coming home to your woman, like, it's just, they try to put certain things to make it seem okay,
Mm.
when realistically I had to step outside of my circle and talk to mentors and people that cheated, figured out how not to cheat, figured out that they had to change certain things in their life. And then you start to realize, like, nah, there's no excuse for cheating. You know, like, you shouldn't, like, if you have one person you're with, like, focus on that one person. If you feel like you need to cheat, like, talk to them. You need to have a communication in your relationship. You know what I'm saying? So you can be real with the other person, because, you know, we don't realize, like, a lot of men that I know that have cheated, they don't realize the damage it's causing. You know, they think it's just, oh, I can go sleep with somebody, or I can go talk to this girl, or whatever the case. They don't realize the damage that it causes on the other person. And
Yes.
what I've been realizing from my book, and like the outreach that I've been getting, is a lot of women kind of deal with the same situations. You know, like, I spoke from the mind of a man, but a lot of women have been hitting me, and they're like, I deal with temptation issues, and I've cheated in my relationships, and I don't, like, and I realized it was stemmed from emptiness, voids from parents and stuff like that. So, you know, I think the key in relationships, what I've learned is, like, communication is key, and really, like, trying to get to the root of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times cheating comes from lack of attention, usually in childhoods, I feel like, or some kind of, like, confidence issues, or parental issues. That's kind of what I found in myself, how it kind of led to that. And then seeking attention and seeking approval,
Wow.
and like, finding that good feeling of happiness inside of other things. You know, it's like, it's not addiction, but it's like the same vibe of addiction, how
Yeah,
you.
yeah, you're right. And it's so normalized. I mean, I think oftentimes we see that it is a little lopsided. We mostly see that men are the culprits, and but we, as women, we often see that the women are always taking them back. And so it creates the
Hmm.
realization of what relationships are supposed to look like.
Right.
I appreciate you saying that, you know, it doesn't have to be this. And men and women who are, you
Hmm.
know, those out there committing adultery or infidelities or whatever, you can stop. This doesn't have
Hmm.
to be your normal. And I think that's dope that you're stepping out there and putting that out there. When you talk about the mentors that you've been able to speak to, are there ones that you can share? Are there anybody we may know?
Yeah. Yeah, Tony Gaskins is a pretty well-known life coach. He deals with a lot of relationship stuff. Um, my pastor, Teray Roberts,
Yeah, I want to.
um, um, another pastor out of New York, Bishop Garnes. And then I just read, like, a ton of, like, books. Like, I read a book that I've been telling a lot of my, like, homeboys to read, is Every Man's Battle.
Mm,
Um, and then The Truth About Men by Devon Franklin. I
yeah,
spoke heavy to Devon Franklin, but they speak on kind of like the dog inside every man, and how, like, until we get a grasp on that, we're gonna try to chase, like, you know, like, even as simple as when women walk past men and our eyes want to follow and, like, look at their body, you know, like, it's subtle things like that that we don't even realize we're doing. And so it's like really like getting a grasp on your mind and changing your subconscious mind and tweaking little habits that you've been doing that end up leading to bigger ones. You know, like,
yeah.
when you go watch a TV show and you see the people having sex on the TV show, and it can carry into your relationship, and later that night you may be with your partner, but you're fantasizing about the person you've seen on the screen, you know. So these were, like, things that I learned and read in books and talked to my mentors about, that's like crazy that we don't even realize it's these little subtle things that can trigger bigger things.
I think so often, because you live so much of your life on social media and for your admirers and your fans, there's always that question of authenticity. They want to know why. They want to know if it's real. But I
Hmm.
hearing you discuss it, it seems like you're really doing the real work. And what I appreciate, there's so many books out there telling women how to learn men or how to accept men's behavior or things like that. But what it sounds like is you're doing the internal work and how you can
Hmm.
be better. And also still speaking to women about what men go through, but not asking them to just be okay with it. And I think that's dope. I think you focusing on your behavior in men and your truth. I
Hmm.
think that's really commendable. So congratulations again on the book. I do want to get
Thank
to
you.
a couple of other things. I know you're heavy in music. I know that was your first love, right?
Yeah.
So what's happening on the music front? Are you able to still kind of record during quarantine?
Yeah, I have a studio that I've been recording at. It's just me and my engineer. So we're staying away from everybody. He was quarantined, so he wasn't out around anybody. So I have been recording. I've literally just been kind of just as an artist. I'm so like on my head. Like I'll do a record, and then I'm like, yo, I love this, and then a week later, I'm like, no, I need better. So I'm like constantly battling myself, but I do have a few records that I'm really loving that I want to put out very soon, and thankfully I have been able to record because I'd go crazy if I couldn't work on music.
You need that outlet, especially now.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then you still have your clothing line, right?
So I have some merch out. So it's funny because I've been working on like an actual clothing line for some time, but I've been having a lot of my fans hit me up like, yo, where can I get some merch? I just want some t-shirts. I want this, that, and the third. And so I was blessed enough to partner with a merch company. Now I'm able to like just keep some merch flowing for a lot of my followers and putting out things that I feel like people can connect to. So yeah, it's like I guess some people are like, is this your clothing line? But I'm just doing like a couple like every 2 weeks. I'm just switching up, giving people like new products every couple weeks, giving them a little new merch drop. So
Okay.
it's exciting. It's fun.
I saw your sexy silk mask.
The silk mask,
The
you
boudoir.
know, it's crazy because a lot of people have been complaining about the like the fabric masks, how
Breakout.
it's like irritating their face. And
Yeah.
so I told my guy, I was like, man, is there any way we can get like some soft like satin or silk masks? Because a lot of the women that follow me have been complaining about their skin and how they love the like the look of the mask, or they love what's on it, but it's messing up their skin. So I did go and do my research, and we got the silk masks for my followers. So I honestly, I've been wearing this. I'm like, yo, how did I not have this the whole time? Like, it's crazy how soft it is. It's like, like the eye mask when you go to sleep.
Exactly. Most women I know sleep on satin pillows anyway because they want to protect their hair and also your skin. You can break out from your pillowcase
Right.
and all that stuff. So I think it's a great idea. You nailed
Yeah.
it. And then what? Oh, do you still also? Is there a part of you that still enjoys the fashion model life? Is that something that is still a passion of yours?
Yeah, I still love modeling. I mean, right before quarantine, I walked in Milan Fashion Week. I walked in the Philip Klein fashion show. It was crazy. It was one of the biggest fashion shows I've walked in next to Guess. But so yeah, I mean, it's crazy because one of my goals this year was to dive back in heavily to modeling. I had a bunch of gigs lined up that I was supposed to be working on, and then everything just came crashing. I was supposed to walk in New York Fashion Week.
Wow.
That ended. So yeah, hopefully next year we can get back into it.
Yeah, so many of your fans met you through America's Next Top Model. So I would love to hear your thoughts on Tyra. I feel like every couple years or so, it kind of flares back up in the news, like, oh, with that America's Next Top Model experience and what they went through and how some of it wasn't, necessarily racially sensitive or what have
Right.
when you look at the news cycle and the criticisms that Tyra has faced, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's crazy that Tyra can be criticized because she does so much for other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's all about being a catalyst and helping open doors for other people. It's crazy that you can criticize somebody like that. But I feel like the media and people are always gonna have something to say. Like, I mean, they criticize Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're never gonna be able to do right fully. But
Yeah.
I have zero bad things to say about Tyra. Like, she's kind-hearted. She thinks about others. She's super dope. Like, she's humble, genuine. Like, there's some people that on camera, they're the dopest person and they seem so cool. And then when the cameras go off, they're an asshole and they're rude. Like, Tyra's the opposite. Like, she's like a sister or a mother or somebody, So I love Tyra.
Yeah, maybe we'll see you on Dancing with the Stars with her now that she's the host.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit them up like, yo, let me come on.
Get your two-step one.
Right.
So we did ask our fans of Hip Hollywood for a few questions, and the main one we got, especially because of the nature of the book and the growth that you've had, is there a possible future for you and Liane?
Um, I mean, yeah, I think so. Luckily, like I tell people, we're still friends. Like we didn't end on horrible terms. Like she doesn't hate me. Um, we just understood that before you go into a marriage, you have to grow and be whole in yourself. So there's definitely a possibility. I don't put anything. I don't, I'm leaving it in God's hands, but there's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. Send
It's
us.
funny because people are hitting me. They're like, "Yo, y'all plan this? Y'all plan this for publicity?" And y'all are like, people are so funny. But um, I tell people all the time, like, whatever I'm letting God work right now. Like whatever He has for me, if it's Liane or if it's somebody else, I'm just kind of letting Him take the wheel because I try to do things my way and it didn't really pan out.
Well, at least you know that now.
Yeah,
I think we've all been there, so I think it's dope that you acknowledge that.
yeah.
Everything you have going on, I know I touched on a lot of things before we wrap up. Is there anything else your fans should know or you want to let them know about?
Um, I mean, I'm just trying to connect with my fans as much as I can and really, really let them know like they're not alone in this world. And I'm really trying to motivate people. I know right now it's a really hard time. A lot of people are depressed and anxious and whatnot. So um, I just want to let people know like they're not alone through these times, and I'm here to try to help as much as I can.